Alright, I'm jacking up this 2015 Subaru Outback. Now normally I'd tell people look inside the glove box and look inside the service manual to figure out how to jack it up, but the service manual is not real clear, it's not real accurate, so I'm going to go ahead and show y'all. But right here is where I have the jack. It's on this kind of like a bracket that goes over the differential, but it's a solid metal bracket, so that's what I got the jack set on. Now this is the back wheel, and this jack stands in front of the back wheel. I'll show you where I'm putting it. Underneath here, you'll see, if I move it, well, I got it up there pretty good. There's a hole, set hole. So there's a hole there. It has like these little indentions on both sides where the jack stands will go. And there might be some kind of jack stand you can buy that'll actually fit in that hole. But that's where you want to put your jack stands. Alright, I'm going to show you the 14mm bolts you remove to remove your calipers. Right behind this sensor here, there's one right there. I'm pointing at it. That's the bottom 14mm bolt. Then on the top of your caliper, you have one right here. I'm touching it. That's your top 14mm bolt. Now, these things right here with these caps on them, like that one there, and then this top one right here, that's where your slider pins go. Do not remove these. Okay, that's where you remove your slider pins and you re-grease them. But do not remove those with the plastic caps on them. Just the 14mm bolts I showed you. Okay, you might want to put your lug nuts back on like I did, because your rotor is floating and it might try to slide off. So when you stick those lug nuts on there, it helps hold the rotor on. And then when you start, before you jerk up and pull up on this caliper like I did after you remove the 14mm bolts, you gotta disconnect this little wiring harness down here. I also want to point out how I got this caliper sitting on top of here. Nothing's tied to it. You don't need any ropes or anything like that. Here's some wires hidden in the bottom of the box. So, yeah, don't forget those. Don't forget to, check your box and make sure you completely empty all the contents out of it. Alright, these springs right here that came in the brake package, you see them? There's two of them. Let me zoom out. They go right here on the caliper, right there. So you just pull this whole wire off right here, and it replaces this whole wire here. But it really has nothing to do with the brake pads. Alright, if you're watching my video, I'm fixing to save you some money. So there's a little tool on the end of my 1/2-inch wrench. This square thing. You can get them at any auto parts store. It's like a universal key looking thing. So this end right here, that end of the attachment, it fits on the end of this caliper piston, so you can turn it and rotate it. And these little square things that you get at the store, they're only about 10 bucks, and they fit on your ratchet. Of course, I think this is a 1/2-inch, and then this is a 1/4-inch adapter, so I think this is like a 1/4-inch. But yeah, these are only like around $10, and that's all you need to compress your pistons. You don't need no expensive Harbor Freight tools or anything like that. Nothing ridiculous like that. Alright, so you're gonna undo this 14 millimeter bolt right here, and it goes down here on the top of this caliper. Then there's another one down here, way down there. So you undo those, pull it out, pop your pads out. That spring that's right there, go ahead and pull him out, okay? Because he's got to be out of the way. You're going to take this tool here, you're going to turn this clockwise with a, with a wrench. You're going to turn it clockwise until it stops turning. Then you're going to take this tool right here, and you stick it in there like this, okay? And then you twist it and compress the rest of the piston. Alright, compress this piston. Make sure these little grooves line up on this cylinder. It's kind of hard to hold it still and turn it, but you can go a little bit at a time. It ain't gonna go fast. This square has to fit down flush when you turn it, or it'll do that. It'll come out of the grooves. I'm using a 1/2 inch ratchet because a bigger ratchet means I have more torque, more leverage, so it just makes it easier to remove bolts and to turn things. Of course, I don't use a 1/2 inch to install every nut and bolt, but a 1/2 inch actually is going to give you the most leverage. Alright, so that turned all the way, it stopped. I'm going to take this little guy here, this cheap little automotive tool that you can buy at any auto parts store. Make sure you get it bottomed out all the way before you put it on. It is real simple. You just turn it until the piston goes all the way down. It takes a while. Also, whenever you get these, you might want to put a little grease or WD-40 on the threads so it doesn't wear out the threads of your tool so much. Okay, so I'm just turning this, compressing the piston. I would bring the camera over here, but my hands are greasy. Okay, it turned. Now I can't, now with this little lever here, I can't turn it no more. So that means the piston's bottomed out. So I'm going to take this off. I think I can get him out. Alright, so now he's out of there. Now the next thing to do is to grease up your pad. Alright, whenever you grease up your pads, all you really want to do is put grease right here in this little crevice, because your pad's supposed to slide in this little crevice right here. It's supposed to, move in and out, like this a little bit. So this is where you're supposed to have some type of movement on the pads. Same thing up here on this top part. It's supposed to be a little bit of sliding movement. So this is where your grease goes. And you can put a little bit of grease, on the back side of this right here, but you really don't need to, because these new pads that I got, they got this black rubber matting on the back, which actually fits up against that piston to make like padding. So the only place you really need to put grease really is right here in these little sliding grooves, like that one there and this one up here. And the reason you remove these springs is because they get rusted. And since this has got 120,000 miles, I'm changing it. So, alright, this is what it looks like after you have everything installed. Got this new spring clip installed. And the grease goes on these little corners here.
And I put some anti-seize on my studs here, and that's pretty much it.